Welcome to Wolve Hearts. We are so excited to be doing this first podcast. And so we're going to do a quick intro, me and Raul. You guys are going to see me on this phone because I need notes. Otherwise, my brain is going to be all over the place. So we're going to introduce ourselves. For those that actually don't know us, I know that a lot of you actually do know us. For a very long time, you've been following us since, the Herbalife days when we were together. We were doing Herbalife. We're always still doing Herbalife. What we want to do is we're going to, in this podcast, actually introduce ourselves. And then at the same time, we want to tell you what Wolve Hearts is really all about. Because we came up with this podcast thanks to Raul and an amazing download that he got. Mm-hmm. So we're going to tell you guys a little bit about that. So, for those that don't know us, we are Angie
and Raul.
And so, we're going to explore with you in this podcast just a little bit about, well, first let's introduce ourselves in regards to who the heck we are really. So we're Angie and Raul, and at the same time, we are parents, 36 years old.
Yes, 36.
36. Raul is about to be 40. So, damn, you're getting old.
No, I'm
That's crazy. You're getting younger.
I still look good.
Nobody say you don't look good.
I know what I'm saying.
You're still 40, though.
I don't look 40.
We didn't say you look 40. We said you 40, though.
You don't smoke, though. That's an inside joke.
All right. So, anyway, we're Angie and Raul. I'm 36. Raul is 40. We are parents to 3 children.
And a cat and a dog.
A cat and a dog.
We now have a cat because
it's a long story.
He's new to the family.
Yeah, and he's Dominican.
He's Dominican, born and raised here in DR so far. He's a tuxedo cat, which means he's black and white. His name is Milo. And you guys know, for those of you who've been following us for a while, know about Sky. Sky's 5 years old. She's a husky and a pit bull. But Milo is a new addition to the familia.
Yeah, he's annoying though.
He's straight up Dominican. Sky is American.
Yeah, but he's getting annoying because the cat is he likes to bite and he likes to.
He's only 4 months, so he's teething. He's still a baby. He's still a little kid. So everything he sees, he wants to just play around.
Yeah. So back to what we were saying. Yes. So, all right. So we're parents. We recently moved to the Dominican Republic.
Yes.
We actually both grew up in the Bronx.
Yes.
I was born in Dominican Republic. He was born in the Bronx.
New York City.
New York City, Bronx. We met in the Bronx.
Yes.
We got engaged.
No, we didn't meet in the Bronx. That
Where
was
we
the
met?
Heights. La Marina.
Oh,
well, that was the first time I met you. You didn't even know me.
That's right.
You didn't even see me.
That's true.
But we met in downtown
met.
the city. No,
it was in the city.
In the city, in Tonic, on 23rd or 21st Street.
That's right.
Tonic, yeah. Bar hopping.
Okay. So that's how our trajectory started. So we met in Bronx / Manhattan, Washington Heights.
New York. We met in New York.
Yeah. And then where we took it from there. We
conversation on Twitter, ended up going to a private message, ended up meeting finally, and then from there went on our first date and never looked back.
We never looked back, and then we got engaged, and then we got married, and we got separated, which is actually it's such an interesting way for our journey to unfold, simply because Wolve Hearts wouldn't be Wolve Hearts if the separation would have not happened.
Yes.
So everything 100%. Really happens for a reason. I'm really big on that. I personally don't believe that
nothing is a coincidence.
Nothing is a coincidence, or nothing doesn't happen for nothing. There's always a reason why the creator will separate people and then bring them back together. And at the end of the day, everything, for me specifically, I look everything through the lens of this must be happening for a really good reason. And
it's always going to serve its purpose.
Yeah. And I might not know what that purpose is. I would never even know why. but it's serving me in some way somehow.
There's a saying that says, "You wouldn't know when things take place unless you get to the future, and then you start to connect the dots backwards." Something like that.
Yeah,
Something like
and
that.
it's funny because even that in itself, I personally like sometimes we're not even gonna go back into the dots. And
No,
know,
you
like,
wouldn't.
why some
You
things
wouldn't even
happened.
remember it sometimes.
Yeah.
But you do. At some point, you do get, like, for example, there's things that happen, and then you have deja vu, and it's like,
Yeah, you and Jesslyn have a lot of deja vus.
But that's a form of connecting a dot,
Yeah,
right? I've had this before. I've seen it before. That's why you have deja vu. But that's when you're in the present.
yeah.
And then you connect it. That's like a connecting a dot backwards, I guess.
And actually, deja vu actually means that you've seen this before, but in the sense of like you planned this in spirit before, and now it's hitting you in the physical life. So like it's almost like, oh, this was all like pre-planned, and now I'm like actually seeing it again.
Yeah.
So it's really cool.
We need to get like next one. We need to get like some comfortable.
Bueno,
I'm 6 feet tall, and this is already.
bueno, we'll get you more comfortable.
Yeah,
Let's see.
You can sit down. You can put your. I can't. Sit
I
like
feel so comfortable.
I can't sit like that.
I feel really comfortable. Okay, so then we got married. We have me and Raul actually we had kids separately before we had Castiel, which is our 4-year-old son.
Yes.
And so he has a son. I have a daughter from separate relationships. And so they are 18, about to be 18, Jamie.
Jamie's about to be 18.
And my daughter is 15 now.
Yeah.
So, and then, we have Castiel, who's 4 years old. So, and then, so that's basically in a nutshell. Oh, by the way, we were actually also, we used to do Herbalife, the network marketing business together, after my spiritual awakening, which will go more in depth into the first, actual episode.
In one of the episodes.
Yeah, in one of the episodes. We're going to go deep into a lot of things. So, in one of the episodes, we're going to go over that. But I stopped doing Herbalife myself. And I decided to focus on other things that I'm really passionate about. And then Raul feels that he's still very passionate about Herbalife and, doing
Helping
that kind of work and helping
stuff like
people
that.
in that sense in regards to fitness. So he still very much does Herbalife. Okay, so, all right. So Wolve Hearts, that's a little bit of like recap of like who we are, right?
Yeah.
Like our story.
I want to share something.
Okay.
Before. Because it's going to, in the camera, it might look like I look awkward.
Yeah.
The thing is, I can't sit the way Angie is. So
Why?
I'm like basically looking at you from the reflection of the TV. So I'm looking at you, but not looking at you because I'm not gonna be like this. And I can't sit. I'm gonna try, but I can't. This is.
Yeah, get comfortable.
This is hard. Look at me.
Pero porque you're not even trying.
Hey, look, I'm sitting on a cushion. Ya la espalda me está. You don't have this problem because you're not tall.
Okay.
You're not long. Like.
Well, yeah, I'm really comfortable. Like I got my legs up. I don't have shoes on.
I need to
like,
have like
I'm
a chair,
like
a
a
chair
couch.
like a chair. We should get like 2 chairs, accent chairs that look at each other. That will be much easier.
Okay.
Because we're looking at each other.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to do it in the
Yeah,
the
pero
thing.
entonces I don't have no back support. Imagínate.
Yeah.
Yo sentado ahí. 2 minutos, I'm done.
Well, maybe that's gonna teach you how to be like
2 minutes and I'm done.
Okay, so back to that's a little bit of us and who we are, and so let's go into why Wolve Hearts. Okay, so where did the inspiration of Wolve Hearts actually came about? And one of the things that Wolve Hearts is really about, like this membership podcast, is that first of all, we want to bring a community of people who want to thrive in relationships in 2025. Yes. Simply because that's really what is our story. And when we thrive in relationships, that has to do a lot also with the individual, right? Like the individual that's what really
And not just romantic relationships, by the way.
Right, exactly.
All relationships.
Yeah, so we're going to be creating amazing relationships with your partner, your family, your friends, and yourself, right? Because you have to have a relationship with yourself. Actually, when you have the best relationship with yourself is when you can be the best partner with someone else.
Yes.
Because you're you love yourself so much that you just kind of ooze that out of yourself. This is why the inner work is so important.
Yes.
Which we're gonna be going over this a lot in in our membership podcast. So we want to bring people together, a community of people, that, like I said, they relationship is your thing. You want to thrive in relationships, not just as together, but also as individuals. So we're going to go with first. Okay. So the name is Wolve Hearts. And I don't know if you guys already noticed, but it's not Wolve's Hearts.
Yeah, there's no S.
And there's no Wolf, WOOLF,
Which is
Hearts.
one.
Right. So number one with that is that, number one, me and Raul are the type of, partners that kind of we do things our own way. We didn't care to do it grammatically correct, okay? Because that's a thing about us. It's we're going to do, whether it's in our relationship, our lives in general, we're going to do things our way, not necessarily how everyone expects us to do it. So there's symbolism there for us and within the name of Wolve Hearts. Just kind of that's who we are. It is who we are. And we are constantly doing things completely different from what, the majority of people expect us to do it.
Because wolves, to everyone else, WOLVES is multiple.
Right.
Wolf, WOLF is one.
Yeah.
Right. So, and Angie will get into what is the significance behind all of it. But for us, WOLVE, although it's two, we are still individuals.
Yeah.
So it's very important people understand that.
Yeah. And then the acronym. So this was funny because someone actually asked me on Instagram, oh, can you tell me why, what's the significance as to why it's not Wolves Hearts with an S and why it's not, or Wolve Hearts, WOLF. And, and I was telling her, because we just the significance behind this, because we're always doing things our own way.
Right. And we also, we didn't even think about it
right.
that. We spoke about it and we were we didn't even think about the S. It was just meant to be that way.
Yeah, it was meant to be that way. And we actually love it.
And then everything else just came.
Yeah. But she sparked an idea in me because then she was is it an acronym of some sort? And I was like, is it? Oh my God. So
let me ask my best friend, ChatGPT. Let me see what ChatGPT gives me, and then I can have a download and then figure out what I can put into my own words.
I do that a lot.
ChatGPT is Angie's. I got funny stories and all of that. But
yes. Because it's like something. ChatGPT has become this thing where kind of I bounce off. And from reading things, I get ideas. I get sparks of ideas. So,
and as you can tell, if you're using just ChatGPT and you're actually using what ChatGPT is telling you.
Yeah, I actually can tell.
Use ChatGPT to but put things into your own words.
Yeah, I always tell Raul that. I'm I don't this is what I don't like. Okay, cool that you get ideas from ChatGPT, but don't just put it into your own words, yes. Bro. Take some of the ideas, but don't copy and paste the whole thing.
All right, can I say the funny story?
Wait, no, let me tell them about the acronym.
Okay.
So the acronym, acronym is what does each word within Wolf means? And so W is for wisdom, O is for openness, L is for love, V is for vulnerability, and E is for expansion. Which, when you really think about it, that's really everything, and it is really everything that represents us and what we really want to talk about within this podcast.
See exactly why everything just comes together.
Everything just comes together perfectly.
It was meant to be without the S.
It was meant to be without the S. Yeah,
it doesn't even go. If you even say it now, it doesn't even go. It doesn't even go with it.
Yeah, it doesn't. Okay, so tell them the funny story we were
telling
her.
You guys heard me say that Angie's best friend is ChatGPT. So one night we're on the bed. I'm watching something. She's on her phone. and she's just like laughing, and I'm curious to know like, what are you laughing at? Like, what is it so funny that you laughing? Because I don't hear video. Like, there's nothing playing on her phone. She's just laughing. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe she has her AirPod on or something, and I just can't hear whatever it is she's laughing at. So I go and I was like, babe, what are you laughing at? Like, what's so funny? She's like, look at what ChatGPT is telling me. I'm like, what? She was having a conversation with ChatGPT, and it was just funny to her. It was hilarious, though. In the moment, it was funny. It was funny.
It is what it is. It really has become my bestie. I said something the other day. I was like, I just feel like ChatGPT really is like the friend that I need that's more smarter than I am, like more intelligent than I am. Because my mind is wild, guys.
It is.
It's really wild. Okay, so then let's go into like Wolve Hearts. Like, what is Wolf? Like, how did the name come about? Why are we even sitting here and having this podcast and having this conversation?
Okay. So, like Angie mentioned, Wolve Hearts, the name came to me, and it's the reason why we thought of the name and stuff like that. And obviously, there's more things that go behind it when you put two minds together who are aligned in what they want in their life as individuals and also as a couple. So for a while, I've been like seeing things about doing the mushroom ceremony. Like it's a plant medicine, is psychedelic, right? That's how you say it?
Yeah, it's psychedelic.
So before the separation happened, I was already getting things of like mushrooms this and mushrooms that, and I've never done mushrooms before. Like
so let me pause. So it's interesting because I never got the calling for mushroom, but Raul did.
Yeah,
the calling that I got was ayahuasca, which a lot of you know that I did ayahuasca at some point. So it's very interesting how individually, like, your higher self knows like what's best for you specifically.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I got the calling for mushrooms, and I kept getting the callings for mushroom, and obviously, of course, I was ignoring it because I was afraid. I've never done a mushrooms, and obviously, it's not what. For example, like my mind back then of knowing what mushrooms was, where people would trip on some craziness and they're doing this and they're not themselves, etc. Right? Because at the end of the day, when you go into doing plant medicine, whatever's in here is the experience you're gonna get. Like, for example, if you go and you have mushroom and in your mind you're thinking to be local in the street, that's exactly what your experience is going to be, because it's what your intention is, the intention behind it. So I kept getting calling for mushrooms, and I kept ignoring it because I was afraid because I didn't really know what it was. I mean, in my teens, the strongest drug I guess that I've ever done was an E pill, and it was really nothing. Like,
I've never done any of that.
It was more, you go through phases when you take an E-pill. You go through a high, you go through a low, you go through a sensual, you go through like touching. Like, that happens when you take an E. Yeah. So that's the strongest, I guess,
and let me just
that
say,
I've ever done, besides weed and...
Yeah, and let me just say, like, you don't really get the calling unless you're ready.
Yeah, unless you're ready.
Truly, like, you really won't even see it, hear about it. It won't be in your reality or your experience unless you go to calling. And
that's with everything. And that's something that we got to talk about
with
in an episode as well.
Yeah.
When it comes to things that we see now, because we're actually ready and open to it.
Exactly.
So back to so then I kept ignoring because I was afraid of the mushrooms. Like, I've never done that. For me, mushrooms was like, from what I've heard and stuff like that, it's crazy, you should never do that, blah, 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 blah. So I started to listen to Danny Morell, Higher Self podcast. I got into a lot of different things when Angie went through her awakening, not at the beginning, but like in 2023, that year, I started to like read different things. I read the book Conversations with God. I started listening to different podcasts and stuff like that were different out of my norm of the things that I would read and listen to. So Danny Morell, Higher Self, is a podcast that I listen to, and he talks about plant medicine. He has done ayahuasca, but he he also has invites that come to his podcast, and the majority of them all speak about mushrooms. And I'm like, yo, every episode that I'm listening to is about these people and their experience with mushroom. Like, what the heck is going on?
Your higher self was just sending.
So it was just more like, yo, mushrooms, bro. You got to do mushrooms. So then December 16 came around, 2023, and that's when we separated. So when we separated, obviously, a lot of people may see it as, he's going through so much. He was rock bottom, right? Rock bottom. And if you guys follow me on Instagram, I had a big thing on my stories about this. Rock bottom is not initially what society has made it seem as, and it's the lowest point in your life. It's not. It's actually an opportunity for you to see that you can do things to get out of that. It's an opportunity.
It's like a springboard, right? I like it.
It's an opportunity for you to levantarte, hacer lo que tú tienes que hacer, to work on yourself and become better, right? And I started to literally, once the new year came in, I was still listening to the podcast and stuff like that, and something on Instagram came up called Jeremy's Awakening or something like that. He's in Miami. He does some mushroom ceremonies in Miami. And that was another sign. But at that time, I was already like, okay, this continues to come up. I'm in a place in my life where I'm working on myself as an individual. Maybe it's time for me to like actually do this, right? And then long story short, which you guys will hear more about it in our podcast when we do more episodes, the membership episodes. You can hear the full story of our separation, the process of it all. So long story short, it got to a point where Angie and I were already like, our friendship has gotten bigger. Although we were separated, but our friendship was much stronger than what it even was before when we were even together. Mm-hmm. And I remember I was out doing something, and Angie sends me a text message like, yo, I just met this girl, and she knows where to get mushrooms, and she's in Cali and this. And I was like, yo.
No,
like,
so the way it happened was like something with Jovi.
You went to a ceremony thing. You went to a thing with Jovi.
The ceremony,
yes.
But it wasn't after that.
It was the girl that you met there.
Yeah, but I always knew her. I knew her from Insta. I knew she did mushroom
but you
ceremony.
met her for the first time.
Yeah,
so you met her. But then you sent me a text message and you told me, "Hey, this girl."
It was because you was looking for the mushroom thing because you were like in it.
Right. I was looking for the mushroom thing and I couldn't find where to get it.
Jovi did a mushroom ceremony, and when Jovi did a mushroom ceremony, it just clicked for me, and I was like, "Oh shit, Raul been looking for mushrooms to do mushroom ceremony."
So there you go. So that's exactly yes. And then you sent me a text message. This girl could get it. What I said, you order it. Boom, we did it. We got it. And we did the mushroom ceremony. And we did the mushroom ceremony in the house that we lived in Miami. And obviously, of course, as you guys know, I have to say this. You guys will get the full story of the mushroom ceremony in one of the episodes. But that experience with the mushrooms, with the doses I took the second time, because the first time that I took it, it was obviously I saw things and things came to me or whatever, but the second ceremony that I had, which was more dose, because Angie also has a story that she has to tell with her experience with the mushroom.
Oh my God.
And when I did my second time, whatever Angie experienced her first time, she was told, and I got the message through her that I need to take a bigger dose. So I took a bigger dose of the mushroom, and when I did, the experience was totally different. And it had to do a lot with tribes. It had to do a lot with Native Americans. It had to do a lot with wolves. It had to do a lot with like your inner animal, which we all have a connection with inner animals. Our ancestors, like, for example, I give you this much. In that ceremony, I found out that I was part of a tribe, and I was a leader of a tribe,
which is where the wolf and
the wolf. Yeah, so that image that I got was a Native American with his face painted, feathers, and he had a wolf like a hat covering, make it like if it was his crown, right? And that image was so like
vivid,
like it was so vivid that it felt like I was literally walking with that on even the next day after the ceremony. Like, it's just...
It was like an embodiment.
It was truly. And I started to embody it even after that as well. So that's where the Wolve Hearts name and idea came from. And then I also always, after that too, got downloads of couples and retreats and mentoring and this and that had to do with relationships. And I remember telling Angie, I was like, what? And as soon as like I told her, it clicked, it connected. And we were still separated when all of this was happening.
Yeah.
None of this happened us being together again. We were still separated. It was just things coming to me as, again, doing the individual work, all of that. Like I allowed to be open to receive. I didn't fight anything in that moment. This would have happened if we would have never got separated, I would have never paid attention to any of it. I would have ignored every single thing. But through the separation, again, when you go through something that brings you down as rock bottom, that is where you see the opportunity that you take, and everything that comes to you is only going to be to serve you better. So it had a lot of relationship stuff came in, couples and retreats and mentoring and this and that. And when we thought about Wolve Hearts, when I mentioned it to Angie, of course, she has a brilliant mind. Putting it together, it was like a no-brainer. Like everything just came about, and that's why Wolve Hearts, you hear in the introduction that Angie has shared in the Instagram, you hear that we're talking about relationships, sex, and this and that, because it's what the world needs to hear from a different perspective. It necessarily doesn't have to be that it's right, but it's something that can help people in a sense.
Yeah, and it definitely comes from like a higher consciousness perspective, the things, because I like to say, like, we have so much experience, an embodiment. Like when you have an experience and you learn and grow from it, it means that you have already embodied that. So, teaching on it, even speaking on it, it's completely different because you know what the experience is like. In like your body what people need to hear, right? Because you've been through it, right? It's an experience, so it makes it very embodied and very kind of like real, right? So
so that's where Wolve Hearts and relationships and partners and people and all of that stuff came from. It came from the experience.
And so I find it funny because in this vision that he got while doing the mushrooms for the for the thing, we were both men.
Oh yeah.
But we were both in love.
Yeah.
I'll never forget that.
That's why I said that there's going to be an episode where we'll talk deeper about the experience of the mushrooms, because my mom was Sky. Like there was so much things, and everything is a lesson as long as you're open to it. Like when we have these experiences, even people that have dreams, there's so much people that have dreams, and a lot of people see it as like, especially when you have scary ones.
Yeah,
people say like, no, I can't do that. No, it scared me. I'm not going to talk about it. There's always a significant reason for having dreams. Angie had a dream about an anaconda, which we can talk about later what that meant. I had the same dream not too long ago about an anaconda, and there's a significant meaning to it. Yeah. And a lot of people may think, oh, you're having a dream about a snake, it has to be bad. No.
Yeah.
If you want to take it as bad, then that's on you.
Right. That's your own interpretation.
Right. There's anything that you experience in life, you make it bad. You make it good. You make it negative. You make it positive. You do that. It doesn't have to be that way. Everything that happens, there's a lesson behind all of it. And if you take that lesson with a positivity, you'll see the beauty in everything that you have.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so Wolve Hearts, that's where Wolve Hearts, the name, come from, where this whole thing kind of like originated from. And
it's been in the works for a while.
It has been for like months.
For months.
For months.
Okay,
So All right. So just to kind of like wrap up again, what Wolve Hearts is all about, what the podcast is all about, what this space is really about. Number one, it comes from our story, it comes from our experiences, it comes from downloads from our higher selves. And so, but the key moment that created this podcast was the separation.
Yes.
Right. So the separation, coming back together, our biggest lessons learned, whether it's about love, whether it's about healing, whether it's about forgiveness. We have we have stories. We have so many stories to tell. We've been through it all. Like we've been literally together. We've been through it all, and we have together, not married. We have known each other for how long now?
It's gonna be this year made 12 years, I think.
12 years.
Knowing each other, yes.
Yeah, 12 years.
I met Jesslyn when she was 4. 25. 25. No.
Yeah.
It's about 12.
Yeah.
About 12 years. 12 or 13 years. Yeah, 12 or 13 years that we've known each other.
Yeah. Wow, the sun is really in my face right here.
I raised her. I be telling you, Angie, I raised her.
Obviously.
I met Angie when she was like 23.
Oh, you raised me. I raised you.
No, you didn't. I met Angie when she was like 23 years old.
I had to raise you.
I was already, what was that, 27?
Yeah.
27, 28?
Yeah. Okay, so, we've been through it all. The separation, discovering ourselves individually, transforming ourselves. And then really, Wolve Hearts is all about that we want to share all of that. And when we want to share from a higher consciousness perspective, that at the end of the day, like anytime that we think that our partner is separate from us, we see them through, eyes of judgment. I got stories about that. Like I had to grow so much because I had a lot of judgment about Raul. And it's so funny because the minute that I shifted my perspective about who he was, which came from my own upbringing, he started to actually shift as a person because we're all the creators of our reality. And so it's like, if I'm seeing him from a perspective that's negative, I'm always going to be seeing him from that lens. But the minute that I choose to see him from a different lens, I will start to see the shift in him, quite literally, because it's all coming from me. I'm really projecting.
And here's a kicker for you, for the listeners. And if I wasn't meant to be in her life, I wouldn't either.
He would not be.
Just like when you start to change and shift, that same way that you create your own reality, there's people in your life that are no longer in your life either. It's like they disappear. And it necessarily doesn't mean that you wish anything wrong with anybody. It's just they're not in your life anymore. I've heard stories of people saying they knew somebody and then something happened and that person like vanished. They've never heard of them ever again. Like if they just never existed in their life. Think about it right now. There's someone out there you never met that you don't know.
Yeah.
And if something happens where you shift and change your life around, you might meet that person, right? That's the point of relationships, right? But you have to be open to wanting to meet that side of you that gets to meet new people and stuff like that.
Yeah. I was actually talking about how one of my greatest kind of like character traits is that I have always been like this. I don't get attached to things, to people very easily. Like, how do I explain this? Like, when I know that something has to be let go of, I'm okay with letting it go. And it's interesting because it's almost like it's a very deep knowing for me when I know that I have to let go of people and I have to be okay with letting go of people. And when we're non-attached to people, things, etc., then what happens is that you're very neutral to what happens. And when you're neutral to what happens, then the universe prefers to serve you in a positive way.
Yes.
Okay. Because if you're looking at it from the lens of a negative, then the universe is going to give you more of that. Right. But when you're just neutral to like, hey, look, I know that I'm meant to let go of this relationship right now. I don't know what it's going to look like in the future, but I'm okay with that. Yeah. I'm okay with that. Maybe we're just completely unaligned and we may never get aligned again. Or maybe we're temporarily unaligned and maybe in the future we'll get aligned again. And so for our relationship, it was more like that. It was more like we were unaligned for that period of time. You know, we separated and then we were aligned because he went through doing deeper inner work that allowed us to align back to the same frequency, like same radio station, essentially. Because when we were together, it was more like he was tuned in to a, 97.9 and I was tuned into 100.3. I don't know. It's different frequencies, different radio stations. So it felt very like we're not in tuned.
And this has nothing to do, by the way, with things you want to do in life. Like, for example, this is more on a personal level than a career level, let's say, for example, right? Yeah. And the reason why I bring that up is because, I've gotten messages of people saying, oh, you guys are not together because you guys are not doing Herbalife anymore, or anything of that sort, right? But the reality is that the connection and the alignment that you should have with a partner is more on a personal note than what you do separate. Yeah. Right? Because what I do in my career is separate from what she does in her career. But that shouldn't intertwine with the alignment that we have as individuals, like us personally being in a relationship together, in a romantic relationship together. So for those people that have sent me those messages, like, for example, as you can see, we are in our romantic relationship, we are aligned. But in our careers, she does what she does and I do what I do. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? That has nothing to do with... But
we are still aligned in the sense that we're doing what we are passionate about.
What we're passionate about, yes.
Like, that's the alignment. Is that we are... It's not about, like, the doing aspect. It's more about the energy behind it. So It's like we are aligned in the fact that, we're doing things that we're passionate about. Correct. And that we love. Correct. And we want to continue to do that, you know? So it's not like, I'm passionate about something and I feel like I'm living my life on purpose. And he's like... I don't even know what my passion is. I don't even know what I want to do. I don't know. And
like, he's dragging. If you're with somebody like that in a relationship, and not just have to be a romantic relationship, in a relationship with anybody, a friend, it's dragging sometimes. It is. And that's okay for that person. Yeah. It doesn't make it a wrong thing. It's okay for that person. It's okay
for that person because they're finding themselves. Right. You know, we don't know where that's going to take them.
But it can be.
It can be dragging, for the other person. Yes. Because, again, it's like it's not aligned energy in that sense. Okay, so again, Wolve Hearts is all going to be about, all kinds of relationships. That's what really is for: family, self, romantic. For the listeners that are going to be a part of this membership, part of this podcast, we're gonna bring a lot of stories, tools that helped us, things that we've done, higher perspectives. Okay, from our point of view, based on our experience, the things that we've gone through and the things that we've actually learned from. Because I'm big on embodiment. I'm big on I just don't know things. I actually act like it. Like I embody the things. For me, it has always been very important. I get very annoyed with, like, for example, like with spiritual people that are like not embodied. Like, for example, you may be talking about unconditional love, but your actions say otherwise. You're judging people here and there, and you're judging things.
Which is not unconditional love.
Right. So for me, embodiment has always been very important, and this is why we are all about keeping it real and just like telling our stories in that way, because we know that through our stories, through our experience, through the things that we've been through, we can teach other people, and then they can go on and maybe embody that, whatever they've learned themselves.
And unconditional love goes a long way. It's probably one of the most important things, which was what started for you, especially started to see the difference, was that when you saw the unconditional love that I have, because...
Oh, yeah, we're going to talk about that.
Yeah, no, it's going to be in an episode. I'm just saying that unconditional love goes a long way. I'm not going to get any details. You got to become a member in order to hear that.
No, but because
unconditional love goes a long way. Even like when Angie mentioned about the universe, right? If you're someone that thinks money is evil, then the universe is gonna unconditionally support you in knowing that money is evil. Why would you
Right.
get money? Why would the universe give you money if you think it's evil? Think
Right.
about that.
The universe want to support you in every
And
experience that
everything.
you want to have. So
Whether
if you
there's
say,
negative or positive, the universe will
Yeah.
unconditionally support.
so for example, you say, "Oh, money is evil," so the universe goes, "Yeah, it is evil. Okay, so let me give
You're
you
not
more
gonna have it.
experiences for you to think that it's
It's evil. You're not gonna get it.
Yeah, so you're gonna keep having experiences where you keep thinking or see. You're gonna see people maybe doing evil things with money, or that keep kind of like keep you in the loop of kind of like seeing the same thing of what you actually believe.
Yes.
So anyway, so back to Wolve Hearts. We are here to help you expand. We're here to create deeper connections. We're here to help you like come above the cloud. Like come above the cloud, like so you can see more clearly. Some people call it healing, but it's more about like truly awakening to your true self and to maybe the things, awakening to the shadows of yourself, so that maybe you can notice like where you have been kind of like unconsciously doing things and then projecting it on your relationships. Okay, so the first episode that we're gonna have within the membership, it's all about like after the separation. We got fucking stories, okay?
Yeah.
It got fucking real. Okay, and it got real even after the podcast that we did. That's when it got real.
Yeah.
So that's what that first membership episode is going to be about. It's after the separation and how we then came back together. So you guys are going to get the glimpse of like all the stories, all the juicy shit that went down, like Raul ending up kind of like in a mental hospital.
Yo.
So we're gonna go deep into that, because that was, when we look back, it's kind of like it's funny now, but back then it was pretty challenging.
Yeah.
Okay, so the story of the separation and the healing, the lessons that transformed our relationship.
Yeah.
Okay, and so it's just gonna be filled with deep personal stories and how much growth we have actually done within that time frame.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which was what, 8 months? 9 months?
Yeah.
Oh, well, almost a year, but
Yeah, I think a year.
Yeah, almost.
Well, from the time you're talking about, from
Right.
the time like it really got down, like really deep.
Yeah, that was like 7 months.
Wasn't that in February? When was that? In February?
Yeah, February. Ending of January.
And we're at the end of January. It's about a year.
So yeah, but we weren't together yet. I'm talking
about
I'm
the.
counting without being together.
No, I'm talking about the mental breakdown that you had. That
almost a year, yeah.
It's a year.
Almost, It's already, it's about to be a year.
Yeah. Okay. So, so we're going to give you the link to be able to join if it's something that interests you, if you want to be a part of the pack,
Which it wasn't a mental breakdown. We'll share what it was, but
technically it's a mental breakdown.
yeah, but it's deeper than that.
But it's still a mental breakdown.
Yeah. If that's what society calls it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, a spiritual awakening.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was a spiritual awakening. But it's, in the practical term,
Yeah, it's a mental breakdown.
the society will call it a mental breakdown.
Estaba loco.
But Está loco.
Estaba loco.
So if this episode, resonates with you, and you want to be a part of the Wolve Hearts membership, and you want to be a part of the pack,
Be a part of the pack.
for transformation and support from us, we're gonna have, our community chat. We're gonna have, we're gonna do Q&A. We want people to come, bring your stories. Like, that's juicy to us. Like, we want to know, like, what's your story? What do you need help with? What questions do you have for us? So that we can maybe give you a different perspective. So maybe you can come above the cloud and maybe see it from a different angle. We're so excited to.
Yeah, we got so much, man. Like,
Yeah.
Besides the podcast, there's things like even like just if you were paying attention to the things that I mentioned on the mushroom ceremony that I had, the ideas. There's a lot of those things that are going to be put into play.
Yeah.
And we are excited for that for sure.
Yeah. So. We're super
excited to meet people, excited to talk to
Yeah.
people, excited to meet new.
I'm excited
people.
to hear the stories.
I'm excited to hear stories. I'm excited to answer questions
Yeah.
about the stories. We'll answer the questions that people may have, and things like that. But I'm excited.
Yeah, Raul loves mentorship.
I love that.
Like that's his true passion.
Yeah, mentorship and helping people, like anything that has to do with helping others, especially now that the mental space that I have now, like the things that I've been embodying, like it's just different now. Like I really truly like love to mentor and help people. Like I'm really passionate about helping people. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
In my own way, of course.
Yeah. So thanks for listening to us.
Why are you pointing at me when you said that? Thanks for listening. You pointed at me.
I don't know. It's just, I use
I'm
my
not
hands.
a viewer. I'm not a listener. I'm in the podcast. Don't treat me that way.
You know that I like to use my hands to talk, right?
Yeah.
Like I do
thanks
a
for
lot
listening,
of like gestures.
Angie. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening to this episode. So if you want to, we're gonna be having the YouTube clips.
Oh,
so,
yeah, video because we're recording.
Yeah, so we're gonna be having YouTube clips for everyone to for example, so what our idea is, we're going to be having like clips for, maybe you want like maybe the first minute or 2 minute of a podcast, and then if you want to be a part of the membership, you can watch the whole thing at and
some people like to
some
people love to see what they're listening to.
Yeah,
so that's why we're
gonna have both
the videos,
video and audio. So whatever rocks your boat, right? Everybody's different. I love audio. No, I like video too.
I'll do both.
Yeah,
I like to do both.
Yeah. Okay, so subscribe to the YouTube channel where we're gonna be putting up the clips, and follow us, join the membership if that's your what rocks your boat, if you want to be a part of it. And just thanks for being here. Like, I'm so excited. Like,
welcome to the pack.
Welcome to the pack. The
pack. Yeah, no, that's not how we said it in the thing.
Is that how we said it?
No.
Okay.
I can't even do it. We were like in a different zone when we did that. When we recorded that, We recorded that for your birthday weekend getaway in Jarabacoa.
Yeah. That's where we recorded it for my birthday.
Cabin, like away from everybody.
Yeah. All right, so we'll leave you. We love you, and we can't wait to, for you to be a part, our pack and our podcast.
Yes.
So, bye.
Deuces.